Yeah, Bart and Heather, we're near an area called Harper Lake where there are dozens of homes in this area that are on fire right now. I want to give you a better look at these flames. It's really an unbelievable sight to see. So sad. You keep hearing these sounds of what may be wood, maybe houses falling, maybe trees falling, these loud explosions, but there's flames. You look from left or right. There are just dozens and dozens of homes on fire in this neighborhood. You hope that everybody evacuated over here. And part of the problem, these winds. There aren't that many firefighters in this area because there are so many fires that they're having to battle right now. I can't even say that I've seen a firefighter in this particular neighborhood right now. It's just a really dire situation. We've seen some neighbors just running along this trail hoping to get out of the area as well. A couple of them really upset, just saying, I can't believe this is happening to my home. I spoke with a resident who lives nearby a little bit earlier today who evacuated at around 3 o'clock. He equated this to the Boulder Canyon fire when he saw it. Just a little bit ago, over 500 homes have been lost so far, and clearly this neighborhood figures to add into those numbers. I mean, it is wild to look at some of the situations going on over here. Again, this is near Harper Lake, and the winds, there's some of these gusts that we've got in the last 20, 30 minutes or so that remind me of that Wednesday that we had in Colorado Springs a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, this is a far more serious situation with many of these homes on fire. I don't know if you can hear in our microphone some of those trees falling, and maybe those are propane tanks that are burning and whatnot, but a really serious situation here in Louisville. For now, we're going to send it back to you guys. Reporting live in Louisville, I'm Spencer Soicher for KRDO News Channel 13.
Just a powerful and tragic scene going on there in Boulder County. Spencer, thanks.
Sadly, that incoming cold front arriving a bit too late to help folks to our north, where wind-driven flames have led to a state of emergency in Boulder County. This is one of the scariest images you'll ever see on live television. More coverage straight ahead.
Fires. Spencer.
Yeah, Natalie and Willis, we're in this Harper Lake neighborhood, and it's in Louisville, and some of the damage around here is just breathtaking. I'm going to take you to this area over here over my shoulder. You can see somebody just left the belongings out here, got out as soon as they can. The house that it's in front of in shambles. Let's show you some video from last night. Unfortunately, it was too late for many of these houses, and firefighters just couldn't get to them in time. You can see in the video some people just standing outside their homes staring at the flames. It's a shocking and devastating scene to look at. Some evacuees will likely come back later today to see if their homes are still here. The strength of the wind last night and frankly this morning as well, making it impossible to do any aerial attack on these fires, and that's why there was very little fire department presence here. Crews have just been stretched way too thin trying to address the massive amount of destruction here in Boulder County, and it's just hard to see this happen to people. I just spoke with a woman who lives just down the block, came running in this morning to see if her home was still there and if her parents' house down the street was here as well, and you could see the tears in her eyes when her home was still standing.
KRDO News Channel 13 Spencer Soicher joins us now live in Louisville in an area where homes are no longer standing. Spencer, we tried to take you a few moments ago, but you mentioned that police had asked you to leave. What's the scene like out there for you?
Well, we've actually moved to a different area now, about 3 blocks further down, and this block actually appears to be in worse shape. Take a look at this house that we're looking at right now. There are multiple houses on this street that are down, and this one has a car that's completely burned down. You can see the outline of that house still. You can see some of the brick that is still standing, but obviously as the sun starts to rise here, it's pretty significant. Let's show you what it looked like last night when these homes were burning in the neighborhood. High winds just didn't let up, and fire spread to multiple homes. At last estimate, again, that fire had taken over 500 of them. Many people evacuated as soon as they realized how serious this situation was. One man we spoke with stayed as long as he could until his wife told him it was time.
I sat around to see what
in their cars. Obviously, we aren't going to know more until the sun starts to rise, and we are starting to see more of the damage. A lot of these embers from these fires with hot spots are starting to flare up. There's another fire that appears to be starting over in that direction. So we're going to toss it back to you guys now, reporting live in Louisville. I'm Spencer Soicher for KRDO News Channel 13.
The neighborhood that's been ravaged by the fires. Spencer.
Yeah, Natalie and Willis, we're off of McCaslin Boulevard near Harper Lake, and this entire block looks pretty much like this house behind us. Check out this house. You can only see the frame of it still standing, a couple pillars of brick, and that car completely burned down to the core. Every single house on this block looks that way. Let's show you some of the scenes from last night. Unfortunately, Firefighters just couldn't get to many of these houses in time. You can see in this video some people just standing outside of their homes, staring at the flames. Obviously a shocking and devastating scene for people who live over here and for many of us who are witnessing it. Some evacuees will likely come back later tonight to see if their homes are still here. The strength of the winds last night making it impossible to do any aerial attack on these fires, and that's why there's very little fire department presence in this area. Crews are just stretched too thin trying to address the massive amount of destruction here in Boulder County. It's really just tough to see this happen to so many people. And again, here on McCaslin Boulevard, there's so many homes that have been burned down, and there's a lot of hot spots and embers still flaring up. There's a fire that just started over in this direction, and there's more fires that are starting in this direction as well. Obviously just a really tough scene, and hopefully people will be coming back to homes that are still standing, and for those who are not, we're obviously thinking about them. For now, reporting live in Louisville, I'm Spencer Soicher for KRDO News Channel 13.
Spencer, thank you, and to photog Sam Page, thank you for also being out there and keeping us in the know.
Yeah, Bart and Heather, I got to tell you, these winds are as strong as they've been since we got here earlier this afternoon, but the flames here at Harper Lake are actually probably lower than they were earlier in the night, frankly, because there probably isn't that much left to burn. We've seen people standing outside their homes just staring at the flames, just in awe, not able to believe what's happened. Others have left and come back here in the last hour or two trying to see if their homes are still there. There's very little fire department presence. There are a couple here right now because they're just being stretched so thin by so many of these fires burning all over the city. It's just hard to see this happen to people, and some of the people here in Louisville stayed as long as they could before it was too late. One man I spoke with earlier this afternoon said this reminded him of the Waldo Canyon fire back home in the Springs, where it was, quote, boom and then get out fast. Range of reactions. Some were just grateful to get out safe. Others were devastated to see their home in ruins. One man I saw a little bit earlier was just flat out angry at the whole situation, and it's really hard to blame them considering all of this devastation around us. A lot of these homes that we saw earlier tonight just no longer here anymore, and these winds, they don't seem to be dying down like we had hoped.